Hello, everybody. It is great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler. I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, premier AI and quantum venture studio. We believe at GSD that intellectual capacity is evenly spread around the world, but opportunities are not. I've been involved in 17 startups and several unicorns. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion. And also Eva.ai, one of the first generative AI companies, pre-transformer models that I founded in 2016, April 2016. We love artificial intelligence and quantum computing, and we love making this world a better place because we know we've got a lot of infobesity around us, and we need the tools and technologies to be able to solve it. With that, I'd like to bring my guest on board. Praveen is an entrepreneur and author and speaker. He runs tech.us for over 23 years. And he's using areas like generative AI to be able to make these companies more successful. They've done over 1,300 projects across multiple areas, things like SaaS and mobile, and their clientele are the Fortune 1000 and icons like Tony Robbins. Oh, I love that. We're going to hear about the Tony Robbins thing. So with that, Praveen. Hi, Praveen. How are you today?
Hey, Grady. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
So did you get to talk to Tony Robbins?
Yes, not only did I get to talk to him, I got to work directly with him one-on-one.
Yeah, how was he?
He's amazing. He always wants to add immense value to people and always sets the bar high. So I feel like it's a great privilege to work with him one-on-one.
That's great. And so tell me a little bit about, so your background. So you're originally, if I recall, you went to Birla in India, the Institute of Technology and Science. So how did you get, you went from Birla, how did you go to Dillard's?
So it's an interesting story. I never wanted to come to the United States. I wanted to start a business in India. But it so happened that somebody I knew was doing interviews to bring people to the United States. And my dad encouraged me to go to the interview. And I said, I want to stay back in India and do business. And he kind of challenged me. He was like, go try if you qualify. So that kind of picked me. And I wanted to show him that I love my dad. I wanted to show him that I can actually qualify. So I went to the interview just for fun. And I got selected. And long story short, I ended up coming to the United States. And when I came to the United States, I was consulting through ICL Retail Systems, and I had a boss there. I'll love him. I'm still in touch with him after 25 years, Steve Harper. And he and I worked together, and I was placed in Dillard's departmental stores. And it was a great run.
Where was that located? Where were you located with Dillard's?
Believe it or not, it was in Little Rock, Arkansas.
I've been to Little Rock and actually met a woman at Dillard who said that she and Bill Clinton went to school together in Hope, Arkansas. Yeah, what she was maybe merchandising or something at the time. But actually, how was it down in Little Rock? Was it a cultural adjustment for you there? What was it like?
Well, people were great. It definitely was a cultural adjustment, especially 25 years ago. There were not many Indians in Little Rock. I knew only less than 50 people in that big city. So if there was any party by any Indian, everybody is welcome. You just walk in without any invitation, and they'll be really happy that you're there. But the people I worked there, super amazing people. And it was really interesting, the period when I was working in Little Rock, Arkansas. That was also the period where Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky saga was going on. And our office was on the Capitol Avenue, where there were some of the hotels where stuff happened. So there used to be these media events all over, and it was really interesting.
Well, I remember because I was down there when Bill Clinton was running for president, and there was a hotel, I forget the name of the hotel, right in the center of Little Rock. And I stayed at it. It was like nobody would talk about him. Like I said, oh, what's he like? Like nobody would say anything. It was like really weird, actually. I couldn't figure it out. They would say good things, but I mean, I just said, "Oh, tell me a little bit about it." It's just like I just want to know who he is, right? It was just interesting for me at the time. From this governor to go all the way to the White House, it's just incredible, incredible story, and to be somebody that's that smart. Did you meet him while you were down at Praveen? You probably were going to rallies or something when he was around, right, Clinton?
I did not meet him there, but I attended an event where he was a speaker. Fortunately, I was also speaker on the same stage, not with him, but another day on the same stage. So I did see him, but I did not meet with him in Arkansas.
Wow, that's interesting. And so you spent a year and 5 months. What made you decide to leave Dillard's? Why did you go to Microsoft?
It was always my dream to set my foot in Microsoft campus because back in those days, we were talking about 1998, and that was the Apple of today or NVIDIA of today, right? That was the high-flying company. But more importantly, I loved the software that they built at those time in those times. So I've looked at how they launched Windows 95, if you remember those days, where they made it really easy for computers to connect with other peripherals, printers, scanners, and whatnot. And so Microsoft was the mecca of software for me. So I always dreamt of setting my foot in the Microsoft campus, not even working there. But when I got the opportunity to actually interview at Microsoft for a consulting gig, I couldn't say no. So I went there to interview and I got selected and I couldn't say no. It was like a dream job for me.
And you stayed there 1 year. What made you decide to leave?
So in those days, Microsoft was sued by contractors for not getting stock options and benefits that employees were getting. So they had this rule where you can consult for 1 year, and then you either become a permanent employee by taking full-time job there, or take 3-month gap and then come back. So that was an opportunity for me to either join full-time or take a break.
Wow.
I didn't really feel to be confined in the job I was in because there were like 12 to 14 of us, and all that we knew there was one DLL file. So the whole team was working on one file, and we didn't know anything about anything else outside of that file. It was like being a frog in a well, right? Totally siloed. And that was not the right thing for me.
Wow. And so you did that. And then what is this appdevelopment.com? So would you start doing consulting projects on the side, or how did you start that?
Yeah. So I started Indies and Inc., which is, the DBA of the company is appdevelopment.com and tech.us. We have 2 DBAs. Mm-hmm. And so I initially started the business. We started doing SEO services initially, and then we moved on to building software because I thought SEO was too easy. As a matter of fact, one of my websites was ranking in the first page of both Yahoo and Google, and we were getting up to 720 leads organically, people knocking on our doors wanting to do business. But I was young and kind of immature at the time. I didn't realize that I was actually adding genuine value to business. I thought it was cheating to just change some keywords and descriptions and titles on a website and get ranked on Google. So I thought I wanted to do something real where I'm creating something that I would be proud of. So I switched from SEO to software, and then we evolved from there.
Wow. So were you still in Arkansas then, or what? Where were you then?
After Dillard's, when I was working at Dillard's, that's when I was in Arkansas. When I consulted with Microsoft, I actually went to Seattle, Redmond, Washington, where I live, and offices were in Bellevue. So I was actually in a building very close to where Bill Gates was working. So that was like a privilege for me. So yeah, I was in Seattle at that time.
Now, did you get to talk to him?
No.
No?
No.
Well, it must have been interesting. How was the weather in Seattle?
It was great in summer. The skies were dark blue with great weather and, amazing place in summer. But in winter, my God, it rains a lot.
I know, I know. That's the thing. I was up there for about a month, and I'll never forget. I came outside, and it was just drizzling, just a little bit of rain, and people were outside like they were rejoicing because it was just raining a little bit. And I'm thinking to myself, am I like seeing things, or like are these people like is this normal? Like to walk around in the rain just because it's raining a little bit, not a lot, and they loved it. That was their big time was walking around in that, and that was in Seattle where I did that, but I couldn't believe it. I've never seen anything like it in my life, and still to this day it was astounding. Right? People were like, "Oh, it's just raining a little bit. Let's go outside." I'm like, "Oh, okay,"
Yeah. You know what's interesting, Gary, is what really surprised me and kind of inspired me in certain ways was in winter, November, December, January, when it rains continuously, drizzles nonstop, right? There were these fields where people would play football and soccer. They would play in the rain in the night with umbrellas.
It's crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen that any other places. Like weird, they would go out and like act like it's normal, like it's a normal day, do this stuff, and it's like, oh, let's go out. It's just, but it drizzled all the time. It didn't like stop drizzling, right?
Exactly. So at one point for about 27 days straight, I did not see sun. It was raining nonstop. And coming from India, where I'm used to sun, I said, well, this is a great place in summer, but not in winter. It's not a place for me.
Now, when you were up there, when you were up in Washington and Redmond, what made you decide? So you moved down to San Jose. When did you do that?
In 2000.
So 2000, how was it then? Because I know there was, in March, the entire market just froze, right? So everything changed in that March. How was it for you? Like you just came from Microsoft, you were there till July, right? So you were at the beginning of when the meltdown started in March. How was it trying to go out and start a company during that time?
Well, when I came here, the market was still hot. Yes, the meltdown already started. The market was still hot. And for instance, my interview here in Microsoft, my interview was half a day, 4 hours. I had to write code on the whiteboard and stuff, right? So very tough interview. I came here and the interview was 10 minutes. And they were like, can you do this? I said, yes. Can you write this C++ code? I said, yes. And that was it. Come join us. And people were dreaming like crazy.
Who did you join, Praveen? Who did you join, Praveen?
So I was still consulting at that time for a company called Quixel, Quixl. It's a company, and the goal of that company was to be the Orbitz of today, where they would give you prices of airline flight tickets by scraping data from different airline websites. Because in those days, there was no API, no JSON, none of those things. So the way Quixel tried to provide flight prices for their users was to scrape websites, United.com and Delta.com, etc., and then gather the information and then provide those results.
So, what are some of the lessons that you learned, starting out at Dillard's? What kind of lessons did you learn that helped you to be able to start your company? So what were the lessons? You have 3 lessons that you learned.
Well, I can tell you one that I never forgot is it doesn't matter even if it looks impossible at the time, if you really persist, you can really achieve things. And I'll give you an example. We were working on POS systems, point of sale systems.
Yeah.
And the POS back in those days were old POS systems, DOS-based systems that had very less memory. And there was only 8 bytes of memory left on the POS system that I was asked to program in. And I had to add a brand new feature with a lot of code to that. And I'm like, you have 8 bytes of data left. How do I do that? Like I thought it was impossible, when I first saw it. But then I was like, okay, how can I do it? How can I do it? Turned out I was able to optimize the existing code to reduce the size of the software that was already there to free up some space, and then I was able to add the new feature there. So that was really interesting. And the second learning, I would say, is there was a time when the store based in Florida would call us nonstop and say, "Hey, this system is not working. Something is wrong with your software. Something is wrong with your software. We're not able to print the receipts." And we tried everything to debug. Everything looked right, and we were not sure why this one system would not work. And after a few days of trial and error, we're like, you know what? We can't see anything of the software that could be causing this problem. So I sent one of the representatives to the store to figure out what was going on. So he goes there, he sees, tries the system, and sure enough, the receipt would not print. And then we're like, okay, look around what's happening with the printer. And he opens the door of the printer, and sure enough, there was a nickel stuck in the printer that was causing it not to print, right?
A nickel?
So the lesson I learned was always provide great customer service. There was somebody in there who had a problem, and you truly believe this is not a bug in the software, but it is your responsibility to still take care of that, whatever it takes, right? So we flew somebody from Little Rock to Florida to go there, check it, and resolve the problem, right? So that's my second learning. And my third learning, again, this was 1999, okay? 98 is when I joined there. 99, I was still working there. And Dillard's, the management team there, they still had data coming from every store almost in real time. So they could see hour by hour what were the sales in every single store that they were managing, right? And that was cutting edge at that time. And the advantage that they had was they were able to make decisions immediately, whether they offered a sale, how is it going? Do they need to change it, right? Mm-hmm. How is the inventory moving? Should we order more inventory or less inventory? And I thought that was amazing. And of course, now we know data is so important, especially in the world of AI. But it was a great lesson for me to learn there, the importance of data and having the data accessible to the management to make decisions almost in real time.
So, no, you're right. So how did they do that? Who did you set that up, or how did you set that real time? Was it like Arthur CompShare merchandise planning systems and stuff, or what was it? Just the POS data coming in?
Well, we had a team. The system was already there. We made improvements to it, so I can't take all credit for it. But it was the credit goes to the leadership, right? They had the vision. They understood how important data is, and they made our team build the reports, build the systems to be able to gather that data. And the software was mostly based in Microsoft SQL Server, and the data was being pulled into MS-DOS or Windows systems. So by the time I came out, we were already upgrading from MS-DOS-based POS systems to Windows-based POS systems.
Wow, that's amazing. That's hard to believe now, right? Those were the old days. I remember using prompts and the DOS in my computer. Well, I got my first computer in 1982, actually.
Wow.
A long time ago. I actually got an Apple II back then, and did work with. We started a distributorship, and it took off. Those were the days. You actually had to gray market the apples, but we did it in the old days. And I remember Commodore 64s, and then Microsoft when it came out. There was other tools like VisitPlan and VisiCalc and all that, and then Excel came out, and Microsoft Word, and it was amazing how things started to change. So you look at it, we see this AI, that we have, this technology that's out there. Where do you think it's going to go? Where do you think the market's going to go, and how important is it for businesses to use artificial intelligence in their systems now and start to look at those technologies?
Well, artificial intelligence is here, and it's here to stay. Anybody, whether it's a entrepreneur or somebody who wants to find a good job, if they try to ignore artificial intelligence, they're going to be at a huge disadvantage. Because, like Sundar Pichai said, artificial intelligence is the new electricity. I believe that it's going to be ingrained in every software in one way or another. You can already see that Microsoft and Apple just announced Apple Intelligence. They're trying to integrate artificial intelligence to every software there is. But I believe that it has more um, power than computing itself, meaning software programming itself, is because in software programming, the third industrial revolution that we have seen powered by computing, you had to code everything manually, right? Once you coded it, the software would do what you programmed it to do with the business logic that you embedded into that software. But artificial intelligence has the power to learn what humans are doing as long as it's fed the data and written the right modules for it. And that basically means once you have a smart artificial intelligence system, everybody is working towards AGI, that can do so many more things, even with little training. Because once it understands everything, it can actually infer to other things that it can do. So I think it's going to be ingrained in everything we do, and nobody should be ignoring that.
No, that's fantastic. Listen, we're coming up to the top of the show. It's been fabulous talking to you. So closing thoughts and how do people get a hold of you?
They can reach out to me on our website, www.tech.us. Again, it's TECH, tech.us. They can also shoot an email to info@tech.us. We have several ebooks and other resources on our website. They're happy to download how they can use artificial intelligence to grow their business. We also offer a free 30-minute consultation if anybody is interested in figuring out how they can use AI in their business. And I'd be happy to do that if they mention your name, Gary Fowler.
No, that's great. Well, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today. It's great to see you. You're in San Jose, right?
Yes, I am.
We'll have to get together. I'll be back out in a couple of weeks out to the house. So
it would be great. Gary, thanks for having me. I had a lot of great pleasure.
To all my audience out there, thanks for joining one more time. GSD presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech, and my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy, and I'll be back to you again soon with another exciting edition. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Praveen.
Take care.